Hello everyone, I'm Moonlight Nana and this is my 51st Medibang Paint Pro tutorial video. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope it can help you start off your first step in your digital art journey. In the previous Medibang Paint Pro tutorial, you learned about the Combine Cover button of the Open Project Dialog window. For this tutorial video, which is the final video for the subtopic Open Project Dialog and main topic Medibang Cloud Service, we will explore the Export All button. We are still under the main topic of Medibang Cloud Service, therefore an internet connection is needed for this. If that's clear, then let's start. Basically, the Export All button is the last step you do to converting your comic manga project into image files before you submit it for publishing in print or online. Since this is the last step before making it into image files, you should finalize the canvases, the drawings, the text, and all the elements of a comic manga before you click the Export All button. Make a thorough check on your canvas, like checking the canvas type. Is it the page, or is it the cover, or is it spine, or whatever. And then the arrangement of the canvas, like for example, I want this cover canvas to be in the front, and then I want to remove this canvas, so because I don't want them in the final print, for example, like this lah. Then like you can also check these pages, all of the pages, by clicking the Open Preview button down here, and then you should be like reading it from the first page to the last page, okay, like so. And then so like if you don't see like any errors or you don't want to change anything, only then you can proceed to click on the Export All. The first page you'll see after clicking Export All is this one, okay, where you will select what type of file you want the comic manga to be saved as. When you click this box, the drop-down menu will show you the file types that Medibang Paint Pro supports to convert into. The common ones which you'll know for sure are PNG and the JPEG, okay. So for this, I'll pick the PNG. Once you've selected the file type which you want the project to be converted into or saved as, you may proceed to the next page by clicking on this Next button. Okay, this page is the settings for the converted file type. And the first one up here is, the first one up here is for you to set whether the final picture to be kept as transparent background or not. If you tick this, then the image you drew will have a transparent background unless you layer it with white background or a colored background. So if you don't tick this, the background will automatically set to white. Next is the color mode. Okay, there are only two options to pick, and you can only pick either use the following settings on all pages or follow the finish mode of the page. If you tick the first option, then you get to see what type of color mode that you want based on the options in this drop-down menu. These three are the most common color type and have been mentioned many times already throughout my Medibang Paint Pro tutorial series. So I won't explain them again, okay? If you pick grayscale, then all of the pages of your comic manga project will be saved into the file type with grayscale color. But if you pick the second option, the color mode will follow the settings of that particular or individual page which you have earlier drawn or set in the canvas of the project. Okay, so you to compare these two options, the best one will be to tick the follow the finish color mode of the page. Okay, so this is why I have it as default lah. Okay, the next setting is exclude text layers or not. If you want to exclude text layers, then this box should be ticked. Okay, what will happen then is that when the comic manga project is saved as image file, the text will not be included in the final file. Meaning, if your comic manga include dialogues that uses the text tool, okay, they will not show up in the pages when you export the project. You might be wondering, why is there such an option for a comic manga when literally a comic manga's most important elements are the dialogues and words to tell the story better? Okay, The logic for this is because when you want to do translations for the comic manga, it is better to have the raw pages without the original wording or dialogues. That way, you can easily fill in words or different languages without having to disturb the art. So then if you want to have the freedom to fill in the wordings later when the project is exported, then you may tick this box. If not, you leave it unticked. Okay. Next is the rasterized area. This one is for you to determine how far into the canvas you'd like the art to be included and converted into an image file. Okay, there are three options here. You have the finish line, bleed, and trim marks. If you pick the finish lines, anything drawn within the finish line will be included in the final image, but anything outside of the finish line will not be included. If you pick the bleed, then anything within the bleed line will be included in the final image, but anything outside of it will not. If you take the trim marks, everything will be included, and there is even an empty space thrown into the final image too. Okay, so let's take a comparison look for this. Now, now this is a simple page of a manga I drew. Now you pay attention to the blue lines. As I have already explained in Medibang tutorial 45, these lines are the save lines, the finish line, and then the bleed. Okay. After that, these ones are the page margin. If you don't know about them, then please check out Medibang tutorial 45. Okay, as you see here, the whole page is filled up to the finish line. This one. Okay, but nothing is drawn within the bleed line, not bleed line, the bleed space, and the margin outside of it. So then I will export this manga page into three different rasterizing area for you to see the differences. Okay. Alright, so here are the three exported image of the sample manga page just now. Okay, check out the differences in the rasterized area for each. Okay, I'll pick on this one. The first one is the bleed. Now, looking at this image as a whole, you will notice that these blank spaces on the sides of the image. Okay, this happens when you pick the bleed rasterized area, meaning that whatever is in the bleed area in the canvas before will be included in the final image. So if your bleed area was empty in the canvas, then your final exported image will have a blank space. Alright, like this one. Okay, now as for the finish line, this is the finish line lah, how it would look like. Now the whole image is filled because the canvas from before has drawings in it that is filled up until the finish line. That's why the final image is whole. So this is an example if you pick the rasterize for finish line option. Alright, so as for the trim marks, it will look like this. The whole manga page fit into the image, but there is this wide blank space surrounding the image lah, and there's this margin, the margin markers at these points. Okay, this one is a very obvious difference. So to compare this one, trim marks, the finish line, rasterization, and this one is the bleed. So I hope you get to see what is the difference between them. Okay, the difference between the rasterized area options. Alright, so moving on to the next group is the CMYK soft proof. Now this group of setting is all about printing on physical surface like on paper. If you are desirous of printing your comic manga on paper with colors to top, then you may tick this CMYK soft proof. The rest of the setting will be activated for you to set. Okay, first off is the RGB profile. Okay, so RGB and the CMYK profile are items you commonly see when setting up your printer. RGB being the on-screen colors of red, green, blue, while CMYK being the cyan, magenta, yellow, and key or black. If you click the RGB profile box, then a drop-down menu will show you a list of printers with different color profiles. Pick one that you will use or will be using. Whatever that is shown in this drop-down menu, that's about the options you have to pick from. The same goes for the CMYK profile. In the drop-down menu, whatever you have here is the only ones that you can pick out from. Okay. Next is the rendering intent. Okay, rendering intent in printing deserves its own video to explain its entirety, but I'll just briefly explain what this is to save on time. Basically, rendering intent are the set of instructions for your printer to tell it what to do with colors that it cannot reproduce. If you click this box, the drop-down menu will show you 4 options for this, but in actuality, the ones that is commonly used are either the perceptual or maintain the relative color gamut. What is color gamut? What is color gamut? Color gamut is the millions of colors that we can see and that the digital machines or softwares could register. Out of color gamut are the colors that the printer cannot reproduce simply because the printers couldn't possibly print out millions of different colors as of our current technology. For perceptual rendering intent, it preserves all the color relationships in a way that if one color changes as it is being printed out, the other colors will change in a proportional way so that they all fit within the array of colors that the printer can produce, which is the color gamut. If you pick the maintain the relative color gamut, it maintains the in-gamut colors and prints out the out-of-gamut colors, the closest that the printer can produce. The common name for this item is relative colorimetric rendering intent. So I don't know why Medibang chooses to name this maintain the relative color gamut. But anyway, when printing out your comic manga in color, you will either pick perceptual or maintain the relative color gamut. How I explain these two items might not give you a clear comparison to you. What's more, I don't have an example to show. But in my opinion, if you're only printing out a colored comic manga, then picking either which of the two common options is fine. Nothing to stress about. Okay, you just pick one. Right, so as for this dark spot correction, this one is to enhance the details of shadows, usually used when printing out colors that the printer couldn't reproduce due to difference in color gamut. I have no comic manga example to show you dark spot correction because this item isn't really all that important if you're printing out manga comic. However, it is always recommended that you take it anyway. Okay, so those are the settings for CMYK soft proof for when you want to print out your comic manga, okay, especially a colored comic manga. If you're not gonna print out your comic manga and you just decide to publish it digitally online, then you may untick this CMYK soft proof and go straight to next. For this page, this is all about the size of the page. First off is the setting of the image percentage. Okay, so it is if you pick up to this 100 at 100%, it is the original size of the canvas you set at the beginning of the project. If you want the exported file type to be other size than the original, you may change it here. Okay, so you can either pick from this drop down menu or you can type in the value you want like this. Okay. Now then let's take a look at the image size of the manga. Right, here I made 3 to compare. 100 means it is at 100% size, which is the original size. 75 means the image is reduced to 75%, while 50 means it is reduced to 50%. Now at first glance, it does look very similar with no apparent changes, right? But if you check its details like so, for 100 the size is 1.79 MB. Okay, but then for the file size of 50, it is only 778 KB. In terms of the dimension, the original dimension is, let's see, the original dimensions is 2507 by 3541, while the 75% one is 1880 by 2656. Okay, so now you see the differences when you set to reduce the image size. Okay, next we take a look at the info down here. The project settings is your your reference for the original size of the canvas you set. If you reduce the size of the project, its measurements will be shown below this one. Okay, this way you will know and get to compare the sizes between the original and the reduced one. So you don't need to do like I did to save each one of the image in order to check out its size detail. You can directly check it here. Okay, so see, so right now this is the comparison of dimension or the width and all. So if I change it to 50%, this one also will automatically change. So you can even choose to see in what value you want to check the size in by picking from this drop down menu. Okay, in here you got pixels, centimeters and inches. If you pick one type of measurement, then the info on the other side over here will automatically change accordingly. Okay, so if for example I want to see the measurement in inches, then it will show me inches. Then I want to see in centimeters, and there you go, centimeters. And then if I want to check it out in terms of pixels, then here it go, it's automatic. In this way, it is easier for you to get info about the image size. Okay, let's take a look at this one, the halftone layer. Process for halftone layers. Now, do you remember what halftone layer is? If you don't remember or you don't know about halftone layer, check out Medibang tutorial 25. So for this item, it refers to how you want the halftone to change or remain when you reduce the size of your image. Now there are three options to choose from here. The first one is lock in place before reducing, meaning no matter how much you reduce the image size, the halftone layer will follow the size of the image. The second is release before reducing. If you pick this one, then all the halftone layers of your project will be turned into equal shadings. And then the third one is do not change, which will maintain the halftone settings even if you reduce the size of the image. This means that the halftone will look bigger or zoomed in if you reduce the image. The more the image is reduced, the bigger the halftone will become. Explaining it to you this way isn't effective, so here I have prepared comparisons of halftones for when the image size is reduced. There are four here. The 100 lock in place is the original image with the halftone all in place exactly how I want them to. Then the other three are reduced by 50%. We've got reduced image 50 but set to lock in place, 50% and then set to no change, and then the 50% set to release before reducing. Let's check them out one by one. This is the original image. I made three different halftones already and got darker colored halftone, lighter colored halftone, and then a wide spaced halftone. Let's look what happens to these three halftones when I reduce the image to 50. Okay, we'll start with the 50 lock in place. For this one, the looks of the page is entirely the same as the original. The only difference is in the size and dimension of this image. Okay, so this one is the 50% reduced one, and then this one is the original one at 100. It looks like there's no difference, right? So that is what the lock in place option does. The next one is no change. Okay, here you'll start to notice that the halftone seemingly becomes bigger in view. the upper shades become lighter, and then the checker boxes for this one becomes bigger. Why this happens is because the page size becomes smaller but the halftone remains the same size. It didn't follow the reduction of the image. So it's not that the halftone changes, it's the reduction of the image size is what makes the halftone look different. Okay, so I'll compare it again. This one is the lock in place, meaning it is exactly like the original. And then this one is the no change. Okay, so no change, and this is what you'll see. And then the third one is 50%, but it is released before reducing. Okay, all the halftone is changed into an equal shade. It doesn't matter the depth, the lines, and how big or small the halftone is. When it is set to release before reducing, they all turn into this exact shade when exporting a reduced image size. So then those are the differences between the process of halftone layers when you reduce the image size. Okay, so then we're done with this page. Let's move on to the following page by clicking on the next button. Wait. Okay. Now this page is all about numbering. Please take note that on this one, okay, page number are swayed only to pages with the page type page, meaning only those canvases of the project that you have selected as page type will have this setting done unto them. I've already reminded you and informed you about this, right, from the previous tutorial videos. So this is the one, this is the time when necessity to set the canvas to its designated type shows. Alright, as for the info down here, project page direction, this one was also set earlier on the details window of the project. Right now it is set to right to left for vertical writing. If in the details window of the project you set it to another type, say left to right, then it will tell so over here. This info is stated here so that you are informed about the page direction and thus will influence how you set the page numbering later on these settings. Alright, the first setting determines whether the other settings are activated or not. That is, whether you want to put page numbering or not. If this box is ticked, then the following settings are activated. But if you don't tick it, then the settings will be deactivated. Okay, so say you do want to have page numbering on your comic manga and you tick this box. So then we'll check out the next item, okay, which is the position. The position referring where the page number will be placed. Clicking on this box will show you several options. Now please be noted that the page direction influences the page numbering position shown here. So here I've prepared a quick overview of the page numbering position for its designated page direction. Okay, for comic manga that is read from left to right, so this one, left to right reading, the page numbering position are as follows. Lower numbering are located at the bottom half of the page, while the upper numbering will be located above here. For lower, the outside starts from here, and then the inside will end here. Alright, okay, the center is the same, and then for the upper, the inside starts from over here, and then to the center, and then to the outside. Right, now next is the right to left reading, usually for vertical writing. The lower, upper and center, okay, lower, upper and center are still the same. However, the position of outside and inside are the opposite to the page with reading direction of left to right. Okay, so just now for the left to right reading, lower inside is located over here, but from right to left reading, lower inside is now located over here. And then the opposite will show lah. So this is upper inside, and then upper inside now becomes over here. Okay, so please take note of these differences. Remember that the page direction of your comic manga will influence the numbering position. On a side note, if you set your comic manga to be webtoon type, then the center position is the only one set for both upper and the lower numbering system lah. Okay, moving on is the font item, and within it are 3 settings. This boxed one is for you to set the color of the number. Okay, so you click on it to set the color you want the number to be. It's usually black, so I just pick on black, and then the box next to it will show you the font. Okay, the font for the number. Now you click on it, and then the drop down menu will display all the font you have saved on your computer, which you can pick as the font for your page number. Then after you pick this, the next one will be the size of your page number. Okay, it is measured in points, and then the higher the value or the higher the points, the bigger the size of the page number. You may increase or decrease it by clicking on this up or down arrows on the side of the box, or you can also directly type in the number that you want. So for example, I want it at 9 points. Then next is the edge item, which is the coating outside of the number. You know what it is. Okay, so this box over here is for you to set what color the edge color of the number you want it to be. And then on this box, this one is the setting for you to put in, like, how do I say, to put in the value of how thick you want the edges to be in millimeters. You can increase or decrease it by clicking the up or down arrows at the sides, or you can directly type in a value, for example 1 millimeters. Okay, are we clear on this? Let's move on to the next item, which is the value used for page number. For this item, there are only 2 options in the drop down menu at the box. Okay, so we have the sequence number and the use specified page number. If you click the first option, which is the sequence number, then the pages will be numbered based on its position on the window. And if you pick this option, then the start number beside this item is applicable. You can set at what number you want the page to start. Alright. And then the second option, which is the use specified page number. Okay, this second option will register the number on the page based on the number you set for that individual page. Where is the specific page number saved in? It is saved in the details window of the selected canvas. Remember, there's this page detail button. You right click when selecting the canvas. So if you don't remember, or if you have no idea what I'm referring to, you may check out Medibang tutorial 47. Okay, so for the next item is the distance from outline frame. This one is for you to set the specific position details of the page number. You do this by setting the value in centimeter. Okay, so the value here is centimeter, and then you set the value for vertical and horizontal position. These values are the distance of your page numbers from the outline frame. For me, I'll just leave it as is, but if you're very specific and detail oriented person to be calculative of every single centimeters, then by all means set the value to your satisfaction. Okay, after this is the anti-aliasing item. Now I know I keep promising you that I'll explain what anti-aliasing is since the earlier of my Medibang Paint Pro tutorial videos, but until now I still haven't touched on this topic. I will make a video explaining in more depth what anti-aliasing is, but that will be somewhere in the future. For now, I'll briefly explain what it does. Okay, if you activate anti-aliasing, the lines you draw or text or whatever is on the canvas will become smooth. If you don't activate anti-aliasing, the lines will appear rough. Okay, so here I will show you some examples. Okay, so this one is an anti-aliasing page number. I've already, this one I set to like anti-aliasing. Okay, so I've zoomed in here for the page number. We'll be focusing on the page number. Okay, and you see here that the page number looks smooth, right? It's like it's smooth as in its lines are smooth. But if you compare this with the one without anti-aliasing, which is this one is non-anti-aliasing, then you can see that this one is a bit rough with its line. Okay, now let's check this one. So if you see here, this number 7, it looks jagged in line, right? And then if you compare this one with this one, which is anti-aliased, this one has a more, how do I say, has a more cleaner and smoother lines. Okay, if this is a straight line down here, a diagonal, then now we compare with this one is non-anti-aliasing. Okay, you can see it's jaggy, it's rough, and it's sharp. So that is the difference between anti-aliasing and the one without the anti-aliasing. So which one is the better option for printing out manga? Is it the smooth lines or the jagged lines? Well, the best one is actually the jagged lines, which is to turn off the anti-aliasing. Why? Well, to explain this means to explain in more depth what anti-aliasing is all about, and like I said, I will cover this in future tutorial videos. Okay, this tutorial video is already too long to have it like to fit in explanation about anti-aliasing, so I won't explain much more than what I just did. But all in all, if you are printing out on paper the comic manga, then it's better to always activate don't activate the anti-aliasing. So I will not activate anti-aliasing. Alright, now moving on is this blind page number, which, to be honest, I don't know exactly what it's about. Now if you tick this, then like the option to position your numbers over here will become inactive. Okay, like the position here, and this horizontal one, it's gonna be deactivated. Now what's gonna happen is that the page number will be placed at the very edge of the page, either the left side or the right side, depending on the page sequence and the page direction. Take a look at this one. This page's numbering is set to blind page numbering. Okay, now look how very close the number is to the edge of the page that it looks so weird and out of place. Okay, this number's position can only be changed vertically. It can be way up here or it could be way down here. But the point is that the number is too close to the edge of the page. For example, another example is this one. See, it's so very close to the edge of the page and it's weirdly placed, like that one also. I don't exactly know why this is, but this is what I think. Blind page numbering is positioned as such, so that like when it is printed out and then the pages are cut, the page number will not be seen in book form. The page numbers are merely there as a reference before the actual printing starts. It is meant to be cut out later on. That is why it is positioned so very close to the edge of the page. If it is not cut out, then it is hidden in the spine fold of the book. So either way, the point of it is to be hidden from the readers. That's what I think lah. Okay, so then that's it for the page number setting. And so if you set so you can like set how you like your comic manga pages to be numbered. After that, when you're done, you may click the next. Now this page is all about saving the file. First off, you have the file destination to be saved in this bar. Okay, in this bar, it shows you the location on your computer where the file images will be saved. If you want to change this or set another destination, click the browse button at this end over here. And then from here, you select the file destination you want and then you click on select folder button. The new destination will be registered in this bar. Next is the serial number of the exported file name. What this does is it makes the number of digits for the file name correspond to the value you set here. For example, if I set the value here as 1, then later on when the image file is exported, the name of the page will have 1 digit or the value 1. Okay, as you see here, these pages these are all page number 3 of the project I exported. That is why it is saved as 3. Now, what makes these image files different in name is the number of digits they each have. Okay, this image file has 3 digits in it, which means for the serial number of the exported file, I put it into the value of 3. That is why it's got 3 digits. Okay, and then as for this one, it has 5 digits because over here I set it to the value of 5. Okay, do you get it? Now if you don't get it, it's okay, you can just set the value to 1. And then also the maximum value for this serial number is 8. Okay, you cannot go any further than that. So do what you like with this info about the serial number. Next is the open the folder next item is the option to create a folder in the destination and export the file to it. Now if you want this item is like just an option whether you want to automatically create a folder in the destination that you have chosen up here to export the files into it. If you want, you may tick this box, and if you don't want, then no need to tick the box lah. Okay, I don't need to show an example of this to you. Okay, then the next option is whether you want to immediately open the folder that contains the exported files or not. If you want to directly see your files after finishing the exporting process, then go ahead and tick this. For these two items, it doesn't really make a direct difference upon the exported file, so it doesn't matter if you tick them or not, right? Now the only most significant setting for this page is the file destination. The rest are like they're just kind of there. So if you're done here, then you may click the next button. And here are the final page of the export all button. Basically, this page tells you all the settings you made for all the previous windows, from the file type page and then to the image reduction setting, and then the page number, and then the destination settings and other things lah. So this is like the final check through before you start exporting the files. If you detect an error or you want to change something, you can click the back button to redo the setting. Alright, so after confirming all the items here in this page, then you can finally click finish. Now wait a while for Medibang to do its thing. The waiting time for this depends on the number of pages you're exporting and the size of it. The more pages of the project, the longer the exporting process will take. Okay, then once the exporting process is completed, you may head over to the file destination that you picked to see all the images of your comic manga project. Now these files, they can be submitted to the printing shop to be printed out on paper, or you can also just publish them digitally online, right? So that's it for all the export all button. This is a really long tutorial video, but I don't want to postpone it any longer by making 2 parts, so I just shoot through. Okay. Alright, so we now finally completed the subtopic of export all button, which is under the subtopic of Open Project Dialog, which is under the topic of Medibang Cloud Service. It's been a very long topic, which started out from Medibang tutorial 32 up to this one, which is Medibang tutorial 51. There were just like so much to cover about the Medibang Cloud Service, but now we're quite done with the most important ones. There are some other Medibang Cloud Service related stuff, but I'll tell you about them in future tutorial videos. Okay, so for now, we consider that we have completed covering the Medibang Cloud Service. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial video of Medibang Paint Pro. Please like this video and subscribe to Moonlight Nana channel or follow me on Facebook. Together we help each other in our art journey. Have a blessed day ahead, everyone.